Hello, fellow unlearners. Welcome back. I wanted to share something that occurred to me while I was in church the other day. I don't often go, but I did. And at the end of a typical evangelical service, the pastor will invite anybody who does not know Jesus or God to come up and meet with them after the service. And learn about the Bible or how to have a relationship with God. And that's pretty common. I've heard it hundreds of times at the end of services. I thought it was for people who had never been to church or people who didn't say, "Yes, I believe God." But it occurred to me that I was sitting in church all those years not knowing God. And when they would ask that at the end of the service, I didn't know that I didn't know. I thought I did know, but I was in there saying, "Yes, I believe," and not really believing. Thinking that what I was getting and experiencing was the best thing possible. And it was awful. And even if I did know that I didn't know what they were talking about, I would never have admitted it. I figured if I don't know by now, then I can't let anybody know that I don't know what's going on in here. And I remember when they would tell us to go tell other people about Jesus, thinking, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Now, that sounds harsh, and I definitely found enjoyment and good things, but I was also trapped in this struggle of thinking I believed it, but not getting it, and thinking there was something wrong with me because I wasn't getting it. And so I didn't want anybody else to have to go through that when they do that altar call at the end and invite people to come up and know Jesus. They are probably thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. This is as good as it gets, but people still need it because there's a hell and we don't want people going to it. So this is the best thing we can do, is tell people, come believe Jesus. He died so you don't have to go to hell. And at least you'll be safe. You'll still have a pretty bad life. This isn't going to help it. It's not going to fix it. We'll talk about how it should, but you probably won't get it because none of us are. Maybe some fire insurance, when we die finally, will not suffer like this anymore. But until then, it's not going to be much better. But at least you won't go to hell. The people inviting people to come and know Jesus don't know that there is something better. Hence the reason for them not giving the invite to somebody who sits in church for dozens of years maybe and doesn't have the freedom, the peace, the joy that we're talking about being available. So they can't really invite somebody to have something that they don't have. And that also sounds harsh. It sounds like people in church don't know who God is or have a connection to him. And I don't think that's always the case. But for me, I remember being in church and becoming an actual believer and God saving me and, getting in my mind and in my heart in this amazing moment. And then looking around at the people I had been going to church with and thinking, I don't think they know this, because if they did, then church wouldn't be this place where you come and put on your best face and learn all of the rules and the decorum for participating in the service. And I struggled with how to tell them that. How do you tell somebody who's already in church, you're not getting what you're here for? So I realized that if they knew that, then I think it would have looked like a different place. Again, I could be wrong and maybe people do know him and they're just shy to say something, but I experienced so much peace and freedom and joy and security that I wanted to tell people. I have told people now that it's not about going to church. It's not about doing anything right. It's about who God is and what He did. And He did it for me, and He's done it for everybody. And He wants them to experience that goodness. And I've met wonderful people who I know do know who God is and trust Him and believe Him. And He's saved them, not just so they can go to heaven, but in their lives today, now. And I've met wonderful, amazing people who I'm pretty sure don't know that, who just go to church. And at the end of it, they say, boy, that was great. And they go and they be nice to people, and they go to lunch with you, and they spend time talking about stuff or whatever. But I don't think that I've seen this peace and freedom in the church. What I think I was seeing was people very comfortable with knowing their environment, being good at it, bringing the best dish to potluck, knowing all the right words to say, but not having this peace and freedom that we're talking about inside of them. And again, I could be wrong, but I just felt like it would look different. Many of you might think or feel like it should look different. There's been a lot of bad press about the church. It's definitely got a stigma around it. It's a holier than thou bunch of people. And I don't think that's wrong, and that's sad. And I think that the Bible and God are talking to us about something that's so much better than that. And people aren't experiencing it because there's this system in place that we become a part of and then feel obligated to conform to, as opposed to this truth that really sets us free, and just walking in that regardless of how other people walk in it, regardless of how you dress when you go to church or don't go to church. And I just think that's been lost, and that's something we're trying to find. And to give credit where I can, as far as I know, there might be this assumption that if you're in church, you know what you need to know. Unless, of course, you're one of those who come up and say, I don't know who Jesus is, or who God is, or anything, or I'm not saved. And then there's this assumption that the other people do know that. And I was one of them who was sitting in church and did not know. And I assume that if you're here listening to this, you might be one of those people, or somebody who is seeing the same thing that I'm seeing and recognizing that in the church there's not a way to reach to people who have been sitting there for 10 or 20 years and are just going through the motions. That was me. That would have been me forever, had it not been for God jumping right into my heart and my mind and telling me that I was believing things wrongly about Him, and then freeing me from that and showing me true things. So if you're in any of those camps, we're super glad you're here. We hope that the things we talk about point you to the truth and the goodness and the freedom that you can have. Whether you're somebody who doesn't know Jesus and knows they don't, somebody who was in church and got disillusioned with it and left, or somebody who's been in church for a long time and you're disillusioned, but you don't leave. I know I didn't. I wish I had the courage almost to say, I'm not getting it. This isn't working. I'm just performing and feeling worse about myself. And I'm hearing about a God who doesn't want me to perform and already loves me. And yet I'm also getting these ideas put into me that He doesn't really love me and that I do need to do stuff so that He'll love me, or that I'm right, or that I'm acceptable or can be loved. But no matter what camp you fall into out of any of those, or even ones I didn't mention, we're glad you're here. We hope you stick around. Please like, subscribe, comment. We want to see what you guys think. We want to see where you're at and what could be helpful or a topic you think of that we should discuss, or a problem you're seeing, or a good thing you're seeing. We'd love to hear it, so please let us know, and we'll see you in the next video.